Welcome to the Smash Jump Podcast, your place for honest and passionate gaming conversations. Today, we have something a little different. Today, we're going to be creating a video game Mount Rushmore. Now, what exactly does that mean and what games are going to be put on there? We're going to talk about that in a little bit because there's a lot that we can get into it. I think it'll be very fun. But to start, let's go ahead and introduce our participants, our co-hosts here today who will be helping me make this Mount Rushmore.
Hello, I'm Nicole. I am a Smash Jump contributor, and I'm a regular on the podcast.
Well, I'm Rowan, and I'm back from the last one. Made a return, and I'm also a contributor at Smash Jump.
I'm Sam. I guess you could say I'm a regular. I don't know. I didn't know we were doing. I
I
didn't know we had
didn't
that
know we
time.
were
I added
regulars.
regular because I'm the one that's like 99% of the time I'm here with Ashton. So.
All right, fair enough. I guess I'm a regular as well. I'm also the video production manager at Smash Jump.
And obviously, I am your host, Ashton Lavelle. Let's go ahead and get right into it. So, I am the sole American here with three other.
I was going to say,
Brits
you
over
got to
here.
stop bringing the Brit crowd in. We're all here every
Just
week.
for the
It's just
Mount
who wants to
Rushmore
come on?
episode.
I don't, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the working conditions. I don't know.
Yeah.
But we're gonna talk about what is Mount Rushmore in the first place, because obviously all the Americans out there know for sure, and I'm sure most of the UK people would know. I bet you, I would almost guarantee you, more UK people know what a Mount Rushmore is than an American would know what a Mount Rushmore is.
Damn.
Which says something. But for those of you unaware, Mount Rushmore is a big ass fucking like carving into a mountain that we did in one of the I think it's North Dakota is where it's at, and it's just four faces of presidents, and essentially represents what America, like four presidents that represent what America is supposed to be, our values, and had some sort of foundational importance, right? So you have George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Thomas Jefferson, and Theodore Roosevelt. Okay, four people that most people, most Americans, most historians would consider four really, really great presidents, right? So that's what Mount Rushmore is. So how exactly are we going to translate that to video games, right? And that's kind of what we need to hash out first, because we're going to be doing a collective Smash Jump Mount Rushmore, right? So it needs to be something, I think, that is representative of video games as a whole, right? So the question is, what do we think our kind of criteria is for this? Like Mount Rushmore is very obviously historical, right? It's very much about impact. It's very much about, they have to be good. Like people consider those presidents to be pretty good. So what are you guys thinking in terms of like criteria for this mountain? What kind of game should we be looking for to put on here?
Well, firstly, I just want to say it's not actually North Dakota; it's South Dakota. Ashton.
Yes.
Ooh.
The American doesn't even know
Failed
where his
your
I knew it.
country.
I had a
places.
50-50 shot. I knew it was one of those.
One
One of those has like nothing in it, and then the other one has exactly Mount Rushmore. So
And just around Mount Rushmore.
that's it. That's all they got.
It.
Damn.
So fair enough.
I love the criteria is Ashton, do your research better, know your country better.
I know, right? I know, right? Ask me about the presidents on there, and I got you. But
Yeah.
I've never been to Dakota.
I didn't even know who was on there, so thank you. I knew
The
Lincoln was,
sculpture-
but then Washington, but I didn't know, about anybody
The
else.
sculpture deemed it the Shrine of Democracy. That's a way baller name.
Yeah,
That is a
but-
way baller name.
Why don't,
Shrine of
why don't we call it that?
Can we add it to like the wonders in civilization that I can build? I can build a Mount Rushmore.
Yes.
So I just wanted to say that, like, for criteria, obviously, I was thinking about games that kind of made gaming history, and if it wasn't for games like Pong, we wouldn't be here today. However, I don't think Pong should be on Mount Rushmore because it's really it's so meh. But it was such an important staple. And then similarly, I was thinking about the game fights we had last week, Rowan, with Pac-Man, because Pac-Man is a huge staple in gaming and also did a lot
Yeah,
for
but
video
I wouldn't
games.
put him on.
But I wouldn't put him on there.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to think about, like, just because they're older and they're the originals and they really set up video games, it's not like the epitome of what gaming is. So I think it's got to kind of be like something. The games have got to kind of represent different facets of what makes video games so damn good. So that's the kind of criteria.
In my eyes, the peak of what we would have is we'd have 4 video games that are like the start and the base of a genre, is what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So, and like, is it the video games, are we putting the video games, not the franchise?
That's an
one
important question.
specific video game
That
that
is
we're
an
deciding
important
on.
question.
I do think franchise maybe, because otherwise it's a bit too hard. Because I think otherwise it's just kind of like it's a bit difficult to narrow things down and just pick one thing. But that's just me. What do we think?
Yeah, no, I
what are
think
your thoughts, Sam?
franchises would be better than individual games. So if you're talking about like, I don't know, like let's say a shooter franchise and you want to put
Halo.
like Halo, yeah.
Which one?
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing, isn't it? Like
Go
which
back to
one do you
Game
put
Fights
on?
episode 1 and see
Mhm.
which one.
yeah.
Well, Reach won,
ODS,
so I guess it's
ODST
Reach.
clearly.
Yeah.
Oh, you
cool.
you bastard, Sam. Yeah, you won. Yeah.
But I think franchises would be a lot better to have than as opposed to individual titles.
Well, so I actually disagree with you guys. I think it should be
Oh.
individual because franchises makes
agree.
it firstly a little too easy
50-50
because it's just
guys.
like, oh well, let's just throw Mario on there, and it's like, okay, but Mario means so many different
Yeah,
things,
That's
you
exactly
know.
what I
But
was
if you
thinking.
have to narrow it down to okay, which Mario is the most important one that like
Party.
you know catapult, then you have an act yes, then you have an actual discussion there about okay, which one of this here because Mount Rushmore is not a whole, it's not a timeline of like George Washington is a guy. It's not here's all the founding fathers in George Washington's face. Like, no, that's George Washington specifically or Abraham Lincoln specifically for specific reasons. So I think we should be a little bit more specific about the type of game. And if we're gonna think like, oh, maybe Halo should be on there, I do think maybe we have to have that discussion of
I've already
Which Halo?
Halo 2. You know, we'll get there in a minute.
we'll get there.
Get there when we start
I've got reasons. I've got valid reasons as to why. Okay, okay. You know what? Actually, that does make it really interesting and quite difficult. But also, yeah, I think you make a good point because you were saying a minute ago, Rowan, about the fact that you got different like genres and stuff, right? While like there are you know Mario and Zelda tend to follow like the same kind of genre, but especially with Mario, the games. So many of them are so different because you've got like, you know, Mario Kart, which is racing, you've got Mario Party, which is a party game, or you've got like traditional Mario games, or like.
And there's also the big
Donkey
difference
Kong.
between like the 2D and the 3D Marios.
Exactly.
And
Yeah,
the
like
2D and the 3D Zeldas, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to get into what we're gonna put on it, but like I put Mario 64 on this thing. I plastered that on there. But if we put Mario on there, it seems like we're putting him up there for his significance in like 2D, and I don't think he should be up there for that.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Sam, do you have any? Do you agree, or do you still like the franchise?
No, I think what you mentioned does make it a lot more interesting, and also I think we should put Galaxy on there instead of 64. But that's just me.
Whoa, spicy!
Game fights.
You know what? No, I only know 64 because it's significance. I actually played Galaxy, so I might, you know. I really like
okay,
Galaxy.
so and then that gets into the conversation of okay, like do we pick things that we actually know and like have a bias towards, or do we pick things that we just kind of have been around in the pop culture? Like
is that my bias is correct. So
wow, sure, yeah, okay, sure.
I will defend it. I will get the notepad. I'll game fights it.
Let me just jump in and tell you why you're wrong. I think we should put Combat Evolved on there. Because if you think about like if we're going from whatever, okay, all right, fair enough. Rant over, discussion over then.
No, keep going.
If you're thinking if we're going to be going on the premise of which game had like a cultural impact or which game pushed the genre forward, like we said at the beginning, if you're going to go with the shooter genre, obviously you had ones before that like Wolfenstein, Quake, Doom, etc. Yeah. However, the one that is the most easiest to get back into, because I played the old Doom games and I do find them to be a little bit archaic now. Clunky and archaic.
Didn't Halo basically create the modern shooter formula?
So
yes,
what I want to say is that the reason I choose Halo 2 is because the multiplayer, it was the first console game to really like drive multiplayer, and it outsold Halo 1 by a lot. True. Also, Halo 1 is janky as hell still, while Halo 2 still plays pristine.
I don't know, because I played Halo 2 multiplayer like a couple of days ago, and I still found some of that to be quite janky. It's not perfect, it's not flawless. It is still quite janky. Well, compared to Halo 1, yeah, it's night and day. I'll give you that.
But doesn't this directly go against what you said a moment ago, where you were like, we should put Mario Galaxy on there instead of 64?
I guess, yeah.
This is a game fight, by the way. This is actually a game fight right here. Okay, Rowan gets 1 point.
Ashton's accidentally triggered game fights 3.
So I guess you could say that, yeah, Yeah. So this is kind of like what we need to ascertain.
Yeah, we do need
Because
to decide on
we
this.
could either lean on one case and go, right, so the original laid the foundation. Because if you think about the first Halo game, controllers and shooters, they were doo doo before Halo came along.
They were.
GoldenEye is a great example of it. GoldenEye is a good game from what
Yeah.
I've never played it, but from what people always keep telling me, it's a great game. It's a really, really good shooter. However, playing it on a console when it came out, I think it came out on the GameCube, correct me if I'm wrong, or the 64, I don't know.
64.
It was impossible. It was really, really,
One
really
stick.
difficult. Yeah, exactly. It wasn't great. Halo comes along, gives you two sticks. It revolutionized the way that shooters play on consoles, and ever since then, all the more famous shooters, COD, Battlefield, Titanfall, Overwatch, Marvel Rivals, if you want to get that deep with it, they all utilize the exact same format that Halo landed the foundation for.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna bring up two things here, and this I don't know if this is gonna actually like change anything, but first, I think we also need to think it feels like we're like automatically just like, okay, a Halo's gonna be on here, right? But we kind of need to
Halo might not
talk
be on there,
about
guys.
we kind of need to talk about, okay,
We're biased. We're biased.
what are the like are we gonna try to like focus in on genres here to start, or what
So
are we
I-
doing, right?
so-
Because we've got like if
Yeah.
we do FPS, is Halo
Yeah.
the pick? Because there's a lot of FPSs that you can
I was
pick from.
wondering that. And so Rowan made a good point about the genre kind of thing. And so I was like, oh, Doom and Wolfenstein really like set the trend for, especially like Doom did so much for first person shooters. But the way that despite them setting the trend and setting the precedent for what it should be, I think that Halo really there is a bias because it's done so much. It drove the Xbox platform. You know, it's the way that we play first person shooters now on consoles because of Halo. I do think that there is a reason that, you know, Master Chief is such an important staple of gaming and why people know who he is. So I do kind of think that for first person shooters, like you could say like Call of Duty, you know, but to me it's just Call of Duty doesn't have the same heart and the same,
It popularized
It did
popularized
popularize
shooters on,
it, yeah.
shooters on consoles. It's mostly there for popularization. That's it.
Yeah.
I guess the
yeah.
big thing is, are we picking out of it set a precedent, or are we picking out of it did it the best?
I think a combination maybe.
I think what we should do is we should maybe narrow it down to 4 genres that are deemed to be like the most revolutionary. So the 4 off the top of my head would be FPS,
Yep.
RPG,
Yep.
Ooh.
horror, and then
Ooh.
and then it's anyone's game for the 4th one.
Dark
So
Souls.
yeah, that's RPG, right?
So-
So that's the question, right? Because if we narrow each face down to one genre each, then
It'll give us a
what
starting
genres
point.
are we gonna leave out, right? Because if
it's
we
really
only
hard,
have
it's only
4, how are we like we don't have
Yeah.
platformer yet. And if we
Racing.
don't have platformer, then Mario's not going to be on there, and that's a problem,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But then if we
Yeah.
don't have, say, action adventure, then we're not going to get any of those major action adventure games that you think
Uncharted,
about from
Tomb
like a
Raider.
Uncharted,
Yeah.
Tomb Raider, anything you can really think of that's not, you know, an RPG, right?
Mount Rushmore isn't big enough,
it's
guys.
tough.
We need more
I know,
presence
we need a
on there.
5th face.
Fuck me, this
If you
is
ask
hard.
Donald Trump, it'll be a 5th face, but we don't want that. We don't want his ugly mug on there.
It's a really orange face.
Ugh.
I think you could probably put action adventure on there and then maybe swap
Yeah.
out horror for platformer.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I
I'm
don't
not a
think
horror
horror's
fan in
big
general,
enough.
but it is sort of a niche one. I
The
feel
thing is,
like.
Yeah.
action adventure, like so many things can fall into that. The problem
Yeah.
actually with the genre based thing is it's so difficult to pick a genre because, like, you know, I just want to, I'm just going to say it right now. Baldur's Gate 3 is an amazing example of an RPG, right? But there are so many other really good RPGs, and you know, it's so hard to try and narrow this down because it feels unfair to cut so many. Ashton, this is a mean idea. Why'd you come up with this?
It's very good.
Yeah, it
so,
feels-
okay. So here's the second thing I wanted to bring up.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
Mount Rushmore, if you as in American history, if you think about Mount Rushmore, right, you've got George Washington's obviously like the foundation, right? You don't have America as it is today, or like, you know, the American government without him, right? Then you've got Thomas Jefferson, who kind of represents expansion, right? Like you had Louisiana Purchase and all that stuff. Like he grew the nation. So maybe if we could go like that route where it's like, okay, we need a foundational game. We need a game that is about expanding gaming beyond. Then you have Theodore Roosevelt, who was very progressive, right? Very much about
Yeah.
modernization
Excuse
in a
me.
way.
Bless you, mate.
And then lastly, you have Abraham Lincoln, which is all about like unity and bringing something broken back together, right? Keeping
Jesus
the
Christ.
nation together. So like, do we want to go with the genre thing and make like replace those, or do we want to work under that criteria?
I'm not gonna lie. I do have a. I think
That's-
you've actually made it
It's a lot.
easier. It's a lot, but I think you've made it easier because the foundation originator thing is again a problem because there are so many genres and so
that
many
you
things
could
where like
classify as a
yeah.
foundation.
So
yeah.
so this is actually
Yeah.
where we go back to my original problem that I said no to, which is we put Pong as the originator. I do actually kind of think that it should. It's the first thing. It was the first game. You know, it should. I didn't want it to be on there. I didn't think it deserved it, but
Pong's not going on there. I'm making a hard
set
statement
the
now.
foundation.
I'm
It
saying
set
Pong
the
shouldn't be on there.
Pac-Man, Rowan.
foundation. Yeah, what about Pac-Man?
So here's what I'll say though. Technically, depending on how you want to view it, you could say that the foundation, quote unquote, for America was the Articles of Confederation, which did not have a president and got replaced by the Constitution after. So maybe Pong is the Articles of
Constitution was always there.
Confederation, and then maybe like Super Mario Bros is the George Washington. Maybe.
Fuck are you smoking?
What do you mean? What do you mean? If you walked up to anybody on the planet Earth, and you asked them, what is the first video game that you can think of right now off the top of your head? I bet you it's 90% of people will say Super Mario Bros. And they will not just say Mario, right? And so maybe like that's and equally.
So really, what you're saying is Donkey Kong.
Equally, if you go because people don't give a fuck about Donkey Kong, they care about Mario.
Yeah,
if you go up to any American,
tell us a video game.
Any American, 90% and you ask them name a single president that isn't like like the modern one, they 90% of them will say George Washington first.
Yeah.
Right. So maybe Super Mario Bros is like that, where it's like, okay, everyone's gonna say that one first. Everyone knows what that is. It laid the foundation for like console gaming and bringing gaming into such a big thing it is. Nintendo wouldn't exist the same way without Mario. So maybe that one's their first one.
I hate so I'm 50-50 on Pong or Mario, but then which Mario?
I'm Mario. What would Pong even look like?
It's the original. What it would be? It would be.
Look like
Would it just be
it would be
two
two
lines?
sticks and a ball.
Yeah.
like an inverted penis or something. I don't know.
Oh my god.
The opposite, just two penises and a ball.
Wow.
Oh dear, oh dear.
That's not even a ball, it's a square.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, they didn't even know how to make balls.
They couldn't make balls, it was square pixels. They didn't have the polygons.
They were triangles.
They
Oh dear. Polygons, man.
I feel like we're
helped.
at square one still.
We spent about 18 minutes and we haven't
Pong
got a
square.
single face on
The
here.
Pong square. Square one.
Hey,
Do it.
perfect. I'm with
I'm
Rowan.
team
I don't
Pong.
think Pong is gone. I don't think Pong can.
I don't think
Pong's
Pong
not
should be in the
gone.
conversation.
No.
There's
It
better.
was,
there's
it was the
better
originator.
examples.
It was the
Yeah, but
foundation.
nobody fucking played. Nobody.
Fine. You know what? Fine. Mario. Pick one. I'm not huge on Mario, but obviously you're right. Pick a fucking Mario.
All right, Mario. What
Alright.
Mario are we talking?
Supposed to be
We got
working as a team.
Mario
We
Bros.
are, but what? I don't
We
have
got
anything to
Mario
offer with
64.
Mario.
We got Galaxy. What are we thinking?
64.
I think 64 if we're going off foundation.
Yeah, if we're going off of that, then probably 64 as well.
Not the OG.
My bias is
The
Foundation,
real OG
Galaxy,
is
but, you know.
Donkey Kong,
Foundation.
arsehole. Donkey Kong is the
That's
OG if you really
Jumpman.
get down to it.
Missy, that's Jumpman, not Mario. Different people get it right.
Check your facts.
Fucking put in your place.
Missy. Oh dear.
Nicole Rodriguez Calda.
Fuck me.
Okay.
Say the correct
So-
name of Jumpman and put respect on him.
So Mario then, and
Yeah.
this would
Mario's
be
on there, yeah.
Mario 64 or Mario Bros. What are we thinking?
64.
What's wrong with
64.
Mario Bros? What's wrong with it?
Whenever anyone talks to me about Mario games, like if you're like a gamer, you know, like us four weirdos, then they're gonna say straight away Mario 64. That's the one that everyone always talks about. So there's got to be a reason for that. I played a little bit of 64. I didn't think it was amazing, but I can see the appeal of it. But everyone always talks about that like it's the best thing. The best thing
Yeah,
since sliced bread.
Like I Mario 64 it is kind of, yeah.
It's
I
the
don't
whole
know what
3D,
I was
2D
gonna
thing.
say.
Right?
I just
Like,
preach it.
Because if you think about it, right, all the 2D Mario games, yes, they've got like different abilities and different power-ups and everything. And I know I'm gonna piss off a Nintendo fan somewhere watching this probably, but all the 2D Mario games are actively the same.
the person who
second
just
that.
gave Mario
Yeah.
under a 10 out of 10 is gonna mauled.
I'm not a big Mario person. I don't have much to contribute, but I've heard of 64 and Bros the most, and I've played them a long time ago. I can't really differentiate because I knew I was playing Mario. I didn't really have like a proper label of what I was doing. So yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna listen to whichever one you guys pick. So
The
I think in
argument.
the
Go ahead,
bigger
Rowan.
atmosphere, I think in the bigger atmosphere of gaming, people, I think 64 and the fact that it's a 3D world and the impact it had there is a lot
Yeah.
more to modern gaming than
yeah.
it was to 2D.
Those
with Super Mario
conversations make
Bros.
my eyes
Okay.
itch. Fucking hell.
He's crying. It upsets him so much he
the
has to
hay
pick between
fever's
the
coming
two.
for you.
I can see now. That's great. What are we talking about? Are we still at square one? What's going on?
No, we're at Mario.
Hey, we're not
think
square
we're
one.
down,
One
we're
of
down.
them. We've figured out Mario.
We're
One
at
at
down,
least
three to
square
go.
and a half, 1.5.
Thank
Yeah.
God for that.
I
It's
think we're
almost
at 2,
over.
yeah.
We've been doing this for 25 minutes, guys, and we still haven't figured anything out.
All right,
I
think
think we're
Mario
pretty set on
64 makes
64.
sense. I think
Thank
Super Mario
fuck.
64 makes sense.
Right, Mario 64.
I
There
like
we
that
go.
Sam chose to be here, but every time he's here, I feel like he wishes
He's
he was
like, I would
anywhere
rather not
else.
be here.
Also, I am
Also,
making,
I'm
Gone under
drunk
my
and
desk.
or have a headache.
I'm making a comment on this now. It's completely unrelated. I didn't
Okay.
know that my name was going to be off like my laptop name or something like that, and this laptop was named and gifted by my girlfriend, so I didn't
That's
realize
why it has the little emoji.
I didn't realize my name would be Rowan with a little emoji next to
Own
it.
it. Own it. Own it.
Yeah, own it.
So your name
That's
is
sick.
Rowan Kawaii. Is that what you sound? Is that what you're trying to
Hell
tell us?
Yeah, that's me, man.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
All right, so we've got Mario 64. Okay,
Yeah.
Super Mario 64. It's on there.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
yeah.
Fair.
Cool.
Okay. Okay, what's next?
Right.
Ah!
Let's go back
go
to
back to
Halo for a
Halo.
second.
Do we want to go to
Yeah.
because I think if we do an FPS, it's got to either be Halo or it's got to be like something older like a Doom or something.
Doom,
Like
yeah.
I don't see the Call of Duty happening. I think it's got to be like one of those two.
Doom is
I
an
think it's-
originator and foundation. I don't think it's
Yeah.
I don't think
I
it's
don't
the
know
same
if
level.
Doom is a foundation though, because how many games have replicated Doom?
A lot.
Yeah.
Well,
A
more than,
lot.
okay. That was
Duke
gonna be
Nukem,
compared,
Shadow
but
Warrior.
Yeah, there was
compared to Halo.
So,
There's,
so
Yeah,
the-
that's what I'm
there's this
saying.
huge thing. There's a huge thing when Doom came out where like all the games that came after him were called Doom clones.
clones,
Same,
yeah.
same thing
Yeah.
with like everything that came out after GTA. Like Saints Row was always labeled as.
Is there a
GTA
Yeah,
Halo
but I'm
clone?
t- I'm
I don't really
talking
think
about-
so. I don't really think
I
so.
more of mean like the modern
No, they were Halo
implications though, and-
killers. Halo killers.
There
yeah,
are
that's what
Halo
they
killers.
were.
killers. There we
Yeah,
go.
killers.
I have this
Love that
listed out
phrase.
as
Well,
like
yeah, like
originator.
sorry, I don't, but I wanted to
go ahead.
recognize Rowan real quick. I
Yeah.
think I see what you're saying because it's basically
Yeah.
like Doom set the standard for how FPS games were back then, but as soon as like Halo came out, it replaced it, and like
Yeah.
nobody played like outside of an indie or something here and there. You don't play a game like Doom original where it's just like the weird controls and the tank keyboard control thing that doesn't exist
You
anymore.
can go
it's
back to the
mostly
original Halos
like
still
Halo,
and have a
yeah.
good time.
So is that what you were saying, Rowan? Like,
Yeah, like if you were to play modern day Doom, I feel like that.
Way
it's
different.
way more like Halo than
Yeah,
it is
it's way
the
different.
original.
Yeah.
So I
So
just
I-
want to say that I have this listed out as originator / foundation, and then for the second one I have like expansion, and then the third one I have progressive modernization, and the fourth one I have unity and fixing games. Like improving on them. Is that like kind of the four vibes we're going for?
Yeah, are we doing that or are we doing the genre?
Yeah, I
Shit.
like that. I like that. I do think that's good. So we've gone for originator.
I think we have
foundation
to.
with
I think we have to
Mario.
do that, like a more abstract
Yeah,
thing,
alright,
because
yeah,
there's
yeah.
too many
Alright.
genres, and we're gonna miss
Yeah,
one
yeah.
if
Yeah,
we
we're gonna.
do it that
Yeah,
way.
it's not.
Am
fair.
I
I think
am I
we just do
allowed
like
to
it.
drink on camera?
Yeah, I
guess,
don't see why
yeah,
not.
just
I feel
Careful,
like
we
I
do have a
need
post
this.
show. We do have a.
I'm
post show.
drinking tea
God.
out of something I stole from the pub.
That's not tea. That's blended grass. I know what you've got.
I
You
love
don't
that
even
shit.
you don't even know what's in here. Could be anything.
Oh my God, how long did you serve?
Yeah.
How long did you say? Oh my god.
He served in the UNSC. Clearly, look at that. That
Hell
Master
yeah.
Chief Marine right
I
there.
miss him every day. Brave soldier.
Oh, he
Oh my
died.
God, Chris Pratt. It's Chris Pratt.
Oh, true. I forgot about that. Anyway, not the subject
You
of
and
the
the rest of the world.
podcast. Not the
So,
subject.
so expansion. I do think that expansion does like deservedly. I think we should squeeze Halo onto here for that because
Does Halo count as expansion? Do y'all think?
I think it did. It expanded on so
Yeah.
many things. It
Yeah.
really brought the console generation, like the new current generation, in. All FPS shooters were, as you were saying earlier, based on how Halo kind of built it. It also was the first console game to have online multiplayer. And online multiplayer on consoles is a huge deal. Also, the Halo games, I think it was Halo 1 or 2, were the first ever video game soundtracks to be officially sold to the public as soundtracks you could actually buy on CD and stuff.
I didn't know
that's,
that.
Actually,
fun
I have a
fact.
question then. Actually,
Mhm.
because I
think
understand
Halo
Halo being
helped.
on there.
Yeah.
However, if expansion is the word,
Uh-oh.
how are we feeling about World of Warcraft? Because
Ooh.
that's massive. Like, is there a game that you can think of
I don't think
that
Blizzard deserves
that has
it.
as big of like a splash than World of Warcraft?
I don't think Blizzard deserves it.
Like,
Also,
what?
It's
No,
not about
it's-
them. This isn't them. This is the art. This is the art we're talking about.
the thing that I want to say to defend Halo's case, but really, you can bring up any other game here. Really, I don't think that WoW really has it completely down. What I love about Halo is it's got so many layers to it, but the fact that I think it did a lot in terms of expanding video games as like art. So with Halo in particular, by selling music and soundtracks of the video games for the first time ever and making it available to the public, it was the first time people could actually listen to the music properly and appreciate the music as art. My grandmother loves listening to the Halo soundtracks on her own. Like that just goes to show how important it is to have that kind of stuff. I think that the cutscenes, the way the story really grew was fantastic. I'm not saying that WoW doesn't have that, but I just feel like WoW was doing something on PC that was already kind of being done before, but it just went and did it like
It didn't.
times 1,000. Because it copied a different game. What I was reading the bloody Play Nice book by
I mean,
Jason
Halo
Schreier.
copied, Doom, and you just put a second stick on it. Like,
I know.
You can make that
Everything
argument.
copies something.
Yeah, Halo kind
Like
of built
World of Warcraft
consoles.
is the MMORPG.
Halo
It is
kind of
the one.
built consoles,
Yeah.
while WoW it was
World
kind of
of
just
Warcraft is also WoW's also live service, isn't it? And
Yeah, you can
it's a
consider
little
that,
bit
yeah.
live service.
like how many?
But I mean, we're talking about like back in
Live
the early
service.
2000s.
Yeah,
it
like
wasn't
the
like it is.
early
It, WoW
2000s.
has nothing to do with like what it is now. Like WoW is just such a big, like just like you cannot separate gaming from World of Warcraft. It is like
No, I
World of
know.
Warcraft is one of the biggest games of all
I
time.
wish I
ever,
could get my
period,
boyfriend
you know
in
what I
here to
mean?
weigh in. He's playing WoW right now, so
And I don't even really care for WoW. I'm a Final Fantasy 14 player, not a WoW player.
I was
I'm-
waiting for you to
yeah,
start bringing
I'm
up Final Fantasy.
14 recently.
I've never played any of them.
So
It took me 4 goes.
So I did want to make a quick correction. The 4 faces on Mount Rushmore represented Foundation, Expansion. We got those. Then it was Preservation and Unification.
Preservation.
Wait,
because
did we
of
get
all
expansion?
the conservation efforts and stuff.
No, expansion's
working on
not
that
currently
now.
on.
We're working on
That's
that
what
now,
we're
man.
talking about right now.
Okay.
We're still there.
Because I feel like I don't know, expansion is so hard because it's like what single game could you consider expanded the gaming audience the most, right? We already have the Foundation, so it's not like a Mario, right? But
You know
like
what?
which one pushed it out to everyone else?
Maybe. Oh fuck! Yeah, you're right. Just
It's
make
so
it WoW.
tough.
No, but
The thing is,
I'm kind of more on the
maybe
side
WoW-
of
Well,
Halo.
I'm like
Maybe
fighting
WoW could
against
be
myself now
reservation.
because WoW is also like it's a very specific kind of player, right? Like
So is
MMO
Dark
players
Souls and
are a
stuff.
different breed from like
Of people.
people who
I'm-
play
I'm not
other
into
games.
MMOs.
Like,
They're not for me. So I'm still pissed that Bungie jumped ship to do.
I'm
MMOs.
gonna say no to WoW, and I think we should probably
Yeah.
stick with Halo.
I think we
And
should stick with Halo.
I'll explain why. Right?
Please
So
defend it.
what? Yeah, I will. Trust me. Trust me.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
all for it.
Sure.
So WoW, yeah, WoW's culturally important. I get it. Like it's a huge thing and everything. And yeah, as you said, it was
So
like
is Pong.
It's the no, it's
And
the
that's fine.
MMORPG.
It's
Let it go.
However, the thing that like Halo for me, there was something about it where you would literally have people bring in their big old box TVs and all of their Xboxes to their friend's house and
LAN party.
system link up
Yeah.
with 16 people. WoW, I get it. You know, it's a big game. You know, it's lasted for decades. Halo, though, had such an important cultural impact because it got people to connect with each other.
In the same room as
And
well.
anybody can pick up a controller and play Halo, which is why the later games have completely failed because they tried chasing trends. The original games, like literally the pillars of the Halo gameplay, according to Bungie, was gun, melee, grenade. That's all you need. Anyone can pick that up, and anyone can learn that instantly. Like my lovely partner, she played through the entirety of Reach campaign with me, and even though Reach is the one which is the most complex, it still has that simplicity there.
Yeah.
So it still does have the same core three pillars.
Hmm.
There was a thing when Halo 1 to 3 released which we've never ever seen again, and that's the significance and the importance of the community coming together
Yeah.
and playing these games together with each other. The unlikely of people, anyone can do it.
Here's my problem with Halo. If we're gonna put it under the expansion, is that it isn't exclusive, and so by definition, it is
Not for long.
already not. It is already reducing the amount of people that are playing it because of the exclusive, right? So I guess the wrinkle I would throw in is why not Call of Duty? Because that one is multi-platform. It does have like couch co-op. It has multiplayer online.
I
Which
have an argument
was
already.
it's so huge and it's still huge today. Why not Call of Duty, which is not restricted to just Xbox,
Call
which
of Duty
cuts off the Nintendo and PlayStation people altogether.
To me, Call of Duty is more about making money and making big shooty. You won't see people going and buying like big beautiful pieces of artwork of the vistas from Call of Duty, but you'll see that for Halo. You won't see people going to wanting orchestras or buying the soundtracks for Call of Duty. You'll want it more for Halo. You know, like Halo's so damn popular that even now, like, can we just like throw it back to like the bathroom memes? We'd go into the men's bathroom and everyone's bloody doing the Halo choir. You know, it's
like,
got so much.
But if we are going on about like lots of people being able to play it, Call of Duty is like when I was younger, people obviously played Halo, but the amount of people that played Call of Duty was massive, and people do love those previous Call of Duty games. I think it's recently gone more into that trend
like
of
I'm thinking like
releasing
Call of
game
Duty
yearly.
4, Black Ops.
Oh, the good stuff. World at War, Modern
like
Warfare.
obviously we would be picking the most modern, but like Call of Duty 4 and Black Ops, that was a different beast, you know.
Oh, well, if we're going to argue with that, then I think the original Modern Warfare 2.
Because
I also think what it would need to be.
I think it's more of a casual market. I think a lot more people.
I think it's a really thin margin, but I think enough. I think more people would tell you they know a Call of Duty now than a Halo.
That's not what I want to hear. Yeah, but okay. So
it's still difficult.
That's expansion. That's expanding gaming
people still
to more
play
people.
Halo. That's the difficult thing.
But so that's what I'm trying to talk about, though.
You know
so
with
the expansion of Halo, I'm trying to talk about it as like an expansion of the art form, about making it. It's showing that video games are more than just playing the damn game. It's about the story. It's about the artwork. It's about the music. It's about all of that community. I feel like Call of Duty is more about a community of people who fucked your mum.
No,
I get that argument. I get that argument, but I don't think
this
Halo's
comes from a bias of you.
Like,
I do think
I understand the Halo. I understand it, but Halo is at its bare bones like a shooty game that you're not thinking that deeply about. I think there's other options to expand gaming as art than just
I think the reason
Halo.
it's Call of Duty for me is up there with FIFA. I just want to say as well that any time I met a guy prior to my boyfriend, I asked my boyfriend this as well. I have like a pickup line with people who I want to be friends with or who I want to fuck. So it's like combination. And so my pickup line is, what do you play? And if a guy says to me FIFA or Call of Duty, now Fortnite, I'm just like, fuck off. I don't want to talk to you. You know?
Yeah, they are red flags, but that's not what we're commenting on.
Yeah, but I don't think a red flag should be on Mount Rushmore. To me, putting Call of Duty on Mount Rushmore is like not Trump, but one of the sucky ones. Like that's really bad. Call of Duty is not as bad as Trump, but like.
But it wasn't bad. It wasn't.
Was
Trump.
Nixon a piece of shit?
Like Yeah, he's be shit.
One of
yeah.
like
the
putting that.
yucky ones.
One of the
That's
yucky
what it
ones.
is.
I just think Call of Duty is too yucky. I think that it's just like
I honestly I have a lot of connection to a lot of when
Yeah,
I
I
played
have
Call
a
of
lot
Duty
of
as a
Call of
kid.
Duty.
Can I just
like,
say that
nostalgia.
I don't play it now.
I
but
hate
loved
it
when
now.
was younger.
I loved
Yeah.
it at the time.
This
I
is
played...
like the argument of, okay, a president was really
I've got a
good
follow-up.
on Mount Rushmore, but
Yeah.
then when he left office or whatever, he just became a piece of shit. And it's like, okay, well, there's a line there where, like, you know, do you break that off because it's his personal life doesn't matter to the, you know, presidency,
Important
or
follow-up if we're
does
picking
the,
Call of
you
Duty.
know, current
you
COD
know.
matter for the old one?
Call of Duty, actually, so my friend and I was had this argument, and I won, obviously, because he said to me, he was like, we were arguing which one's better, and he was like, Call of Duty was like the first like console shooter, and I was like multiplayer, and I was like, no, that was Halo. Shut the fuck up. I want to remind everyone once.
Actually finger up.
Yeah,
you did.
I want to remind everyone once again.
Actually.
Actually, I want to remind everyone again that Halo, if it wasn't for Halo, we wouldn't have console shooters like we do now. I think that Halo's on another fucking level, and I think that Call of Duty just tried to replicate what Halo had, and then it got it didn't work out.
It got bigger.
It didn't work out as well.
It did. It
I
got bigger.
don't know if I'd say it didn't work.
It got bigger.
It got bigger. It remains bigger. Halo's died off. Call of Duty remains.
Yeah.
No. So like,
Sam, help me. Sam, help me.
Yeah, Sam, I haven't heard a lot from you on this.
Sam,
on this front.
help me. Don't you dare turn around and tell me Call of Duty now. Don't you dare.
It's tough.
He's pulling that face like he's going to betray me in a second. I can see it.
Can I just? Okay, no. Sam,
no. We pick what? Pick what?
What if we picked again? I'm confused.
Where we
are. Get your head in the game.
No, I'm joking.
Okay, Sam's not here.
I just like
okay,
watching you. I just like watching you all. It's funny.
This is what it's like moderating every game debate, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Remind me never to do that. So the thing is, I was going to mention something that Nicole said when she was like, not a lot of people like buy artwork of Call of Duty or listen to the soundtrack. There's going to be some people out there that will do. There's going to be some people that will do.
Not to the same degree as Halo.
No, yeah, fair enough. I get that. Like, I mean, look.
Yeah,
you know, I wouldn't dare like buy a piece of Call of Duty artwork like that's just because it's not my thing. And like Halo is culturally important. Like I mentioned, it is culturally important.
About to betray me, guys.
Yeah.
Here it comes.
Yeah, but
here it comes.
But to be fair, Ashton does make a good point where like it is popular. Call of Duty is
okay,
popular.
Guys. Then you know what? World of Warcraft. Let's fucking go.
We already went through that. We went through that.
No. If it's a popularity thing, then fuck Call of Duty.
I'm pretty sure Call of Duty would be higher. I would not be.
Also, I don't want to change topics. Sam, is that 18 inches of venom behind you?
It
Hell
is.
Yeah,
it is.
It is.
I never noticed.
I don't think Spider-Man's making this Mount Rushmore. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
Well, I will say, I want to actually say something to just bring up like WoW very quickly again, which is, do you guys remember that one time that a virus started spreading around within the world where animals and pets were getting there's some sort of disease from within the game and spreading them around the servers, and then actual like scientists were looking and researching into people's reactions in the actual apocalypse in the event that we all got infected with something, because that was like a very real story where all the servers got infected, and there were some clans who tried to save other people and help and heal them, while there were other clans that ended up going and sending their poisoned, diseased pets to go and infect other people for shits and giggles. And like it killed servers, you know, like WoW had a bigger impact in my opinion than Call of Duty.
I was gonna say, is that your argument for impact? Is there's a
disease? What's it got to do with Mount Rushmore?
Yeah. I think that's so. I'm now going back to I hate.
But nobody knows that.
I want good. Everyone should fucking know that. It's incredible. It's so interesting. So my bottom line is, right, if we're not picking Halo and if we're picking Call of Duty, then I'm going Team WoW.
I think if we're being unbiased here and not letting bias just consume everything, I feel like Call of Duty has to be on there.
Yeah, Call of Duty has to be
like,
one of
as
them.
much as I don't play it anymore, like unbiased, I think it's the right answer.
That's why I asked you at the beginning.
Oh,
Are we
wait.
going by individual Mount Rushmores, or
So
are we
this
going
is the
not. That's-
thing.
if
that
it's
we're not.
individual, then my
So we've got
bias
to go
will
with a
be
specific
Halo.
one.
So what I will say now as a counter to everything we're saying here is that we're picking Call of Duty as an overall, but we're not picking like one game. You're saying Call of Duty.
No,
is
I would say 4 or Black Ops.
Okay, but
That's a
4
different conversation.
4 and Black Ops and World at War, I would say that Halo like 2 had the same kind of popularity as those games. So you're kind of putting the whole Call of Duty spectrum of fans and people who still play it today bundled up into Call of Duty 4, World at War, Modern Warfare 2, and Black Ops.
Well, it's a rich tapestry, Nicole.
Yeah, well, but I
a
could
rich
sit
tapestry.
there. I think those are like the bangers, you know, those are the bangers, but they're not the same people that are playing Call of Duty now. So you're sitting here and you're like, Call of Duty's still relevant, blah, blah. It's a different Call of Duty that's relevant. And you're trying to fight a fight for Call of Duty as a whole, but I don't think that's completely justified.
I don't think it matters because Halo's not relevant at all. So
Well, you know what else isn't relevant anymore? Mario 64.
That's not
Fuck
true. Mario
me.
Odyssey is one of the best Nintendo
That
Switch
guy
games
be
ever.
out here fighting fire.
That's
with
literally
fire.
not true. That's literally not true.
I think I make a good point. I think that Call of Duty 4, I think that Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, World at War are no longer as relevant as they were back then. I think that Halo 2 has the staple for improving our appreciation of gaming as an art form and giving us console multiplayer FPS.
But only
honestly,
for Xbox.
Fuck you, mate. I'm dying on this hill. Jesus
Comments
Christ.
will probably agree with you, by the way.
No, they won't.
Because the comments hate Call of
Everyone's gonna
Duty.
jerk
Like,
off to Call of Duty.
People
Oh my
who watch
God.
these kind of podcasts don't like Call of Duty.
I mean, rightfully so.
I mean, yeah, I
Just pick
don't
a
like Call of
fucking
Duty
game.
now,
But I don't think we should be sitting there saying Call of Duty as a whole and then only picking one of the good ones from the late 2000s,
I mean,
early
No, we're
2000s.
not
it's the same.
picking-
It's the
we've gotta-
same
we've gotta
thing you're
pick a
doing with
specific
Halo.
one.
It's
It sounds
saying
like
it
you're
has a
arguing that.
legacy. No, it's the same thing you're saying with Halo is that it has a legacy. It's just Call of Duty also has that. You're saying,
Yeah, no, but
I
your
can't do it
legacy
for mine, but you can
is
do it for yours.
popularity. Your legacy is it's still popular. That's all you've
That's
got.
part of
that's
it,
the
yeah.
that's the only argument I'm hearing for Call of Duty is that it's still
Expansion.
popular.
It's expansion.
It's just popular. It's all it is. It's just popular. You know? Well, what has it actually done for improving the gaming landscape? What has it actually done for gaming? What has it
Money.
actually done? Tell me what it's actually done.
Add a lot
Money.
more money.
That's all
Money.
it's done is get money. You know, if we're doing that, then GTA 5.
Okay, hold on. All right. Oh, wait. Hold on.
No, we're not doing GTA 5. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
Hold on. Okay, let me rephrase it. Let me. You know what? Okay, we need to have a think about this because
We come
if
back
we're
to it
gonna
later.
if we're gonna try to make it about the art and like maybe the expansion is bringing people to bigger games, because I could say I could understand the argument, which I'm gonna punch myself in the face here, that Call of Duty doesn't bring people into gaming, it brings people into Call of Duty.
Yes.
Right? Like maybe that
That's
would
what I'm
be
saying.
the thing, right? But Halo
Yes.
doesn't do that either. So I feel like there's got to be something else.
My grandmother literally listens to the Halo soundtracks. so-
Your grandmother, your whole family.
Yeah, but your
is a
grandmother
different-
knows
that's
you.
anecdotal. That's anecdotal. My fucking girlfriend knows
Okay.
Dearly Beloved from Kingdom Hearts.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean like that's.
I've got a new argument. Okay.
Ooh, fresh. Okay.
Okay, so as an English person, right, I don't know how well I'm going to argue this. I'm going to try my best. Someone help. So,
That's gonna be fun.
America, right, is all about the land of dreams and hope, and it was a beautiful place for people to settle, and people wanted to go to America. And I'm not going to say what the Orange Man says because that sounds terrible, but to make America an interesting place to live and fun, and you know, where dreams are made of. So
What?
I'm
Is
not
that
done
Disney
yet.
where dreams are made?
See, that's what I did. I went with that instead of the other one because the other one was not a good one to say. On the, you know, America is very, you know, I don't want to say it's all about making money. You know, I want to say that America is like the whole dream of it was to build community, to find people, to make a beautiful country together where people could all join up together and build something lovely and hopeful for the future. You know, Call of Duty ain't doing that. Everyone just wants to fuck your mum.
So World of Warcraft is what you're saying.
Back to that. Oh dear.
How about okay? Let's put a pin in this. We're putting.
Let's put a pin
We're
in
gonna
it. Let's come back.
Call of
We're gonna
Duty,
circle back.
Halo. We're even gonna throw in WoW there just for funds. But let's go to preservation. Right. We
Yeah,
need a
let's go to
new.
that.
We need a reset here. Preservation. We still got two other faces. to get. So
This
let's
is
go to
where Halo
preservation.
says Master Chief Collection or Halo games.
Yeah.
Yeah, where do we go with preservation? What's our idea?
That
for
one's weird,
this?
right? Like, what does that mean for games, right?
Are we going over remakes or like is
No.
Oh, The Last of Us
No.
instantly. Then if we're going over remake,
Skyrim, maybe. Skyrim.
Ooh. I don't want to give it
All
to
those
Bethesda,
remakes.
though.
oh,
Yeah.
actually, no. Ashton makes a good
Oblivion.
point. Ashton makes a good point.
Yep.
So Skyrim's been remastered to fuck.
You know what? Actually, Ashton
Over
makes
there.
a good point. You know what?
Over
I
there.
have
That's a good
no
point.
qualms.
Skyrim has
No
you
qualms.
if you
No,
want a
I
taste
don't
of
vote
old
for
games.
Skyrim.
No, you started this. You
I
started.
don't vote for Skyrim.
Yeah, you-
what does
you fuck.
preservation mean? Being remastered
It
a million
means
times for no
Skyrim.
reason is not preservation.
Okay, so preservation.
To
in
Todd
terms of-
Howard is.
You know what,
To
Ashton?
Todd Howard can suck my ass.
You know what, Ashton? As the American here, can you please tell us what preserving America and American preservation means, so that we can try and apply it to video games?
There's a fucking
Just
civil
regrets.
war, okay? And he had
I
to
know
win,
a game with a
win the
civil war
civil
in
Is that
war.
what it was about?
Yeah.
Well, not the civil. I know what civil war was, but is that what the preservation bit? Wait, oh, is it Lincoln? Is that the Lincoln?
Yeah,
bit?
it's Lincoln. Yeah.
Oh fuck, that's a complicated one.
Right? There's not really a good equivalent for gaming.
So what I'm hearing is that, so that's the thing. It sounds more like the fourth one, which is all about unity. No hate. Just like spread love.
Sorry, I'm stupid. Sorry. No.
Gonna say.
Unity is the Lincoln one. Preservation is
Okay.
Theodore Roosevelt, which was more like keeping America beautiful, right? Preserving the landmarks, preserving the national parks, lots of conservation efforts, keeping our nature beautiful.
Sorry. Okay, so you've got the
that kind of
originator, the expansion. So who's the third? Third one's Lincoln. So that's the unity.
Unity is unification is Lincoln. Preservation, national parks. We're thinking nature. That one is
the one after is the fourth
Roosevelt.
one.
Yeah, it's Teddy.
Okay. So unity is what we're currently thinking of. Okay.
So we kind of think of a game that's like, okay, all right, fair enough, go for it.
Baldur's Gate 3.
What? Unity?
How have we gotten
Unity?
to Baldur's
It
Gate
brought
3?
us all together. It's
Did
a
it?
game.
Okay, we're talking about Unity. Okay.
Well, World of
Yeah.
Warcraft. No.
The third one.
I wouldn't go Baldur's Gate 3 for Unity.
The only reason
No.
I say Baldur's Gate 3, I'm not actually necessarily saying Baldur's Gate 3. I'm saying that, like, the idea of Unity, so that, like, this game kind of represents that for me. But if you find a better option, then I'll go with it. But the reason I say Baldur's Gate 3 is that not only did it, the story and the love, maybe it's for the preservation bit, I don't know, but the story and the love and effort and the amount of dialogue and hours and time that this smaller developer put into this game just shows that such a small team can make something so beautiful that is so important to gaming, such an important staple. It won all the Game Awards for a reason, and I think that beautiful community was built as a reason. The Baldur's Gate was the reason that we built such a beautiful community, and I think that the game has so many fantastic plot lines, so many interesting characters, so many beautiful storylines, and there's different stories about different kinds of people. There's a lot of like racial issues going on. There's like diversity issues going on. It's a very rich tapestry with so many good stories to tell. And I think that Baldur's Gate kind of represents people really well, and it tells really beautiful stories really well. It has a bit of everything for everyone. So
we're still on Unity right now, right?
Yeah,
we're on
Unity.
the third one, which is Unity.
Hang on, I just want to say Baldur's Gate 3, I think a big thing people always talk about how Baldur's Gate 3 is an amazing game. I love Baldur's Gate 3. I'd suck it off. Like, it is phenomenal. It is one of my favorite games ever.
Yeah.
But the issue is people always talk like Baldur's Gate 3 was just made by Larian in a cave. It is D&D. Wizards of the Sword Coast. Like, this game was made for years with most likely a very strong fund. I don't think, like, I definitely think the game holds. I don't think it should go for Unity, because I feel like a game that goes for Unity is a game that should uphold gaming standards. It should be.
That's why I think Baldur's Gate.
I mean, Baldur's Gate 3 does do that. Oh fuck!
Yeah.
But still,
Problem with
like,
Baldur's Gate 3 is it's I think it's too new.
So
that'd be like if we had
I
like
don't mind putting a new
hey,
game.
it's in the
Obama
top 10
or
of the
Biden
100
or
list.
Trump
Spoilers,
in, like,
everybody.
the Mount Rushmore is historical. Right?
I think
don't
Baldur's
know.
Gate 3 has a special place in history, and I think going forward it's going to be there.
I also
because
think it needs to have some sort of kind multiplayer space and some sort of online community to it.
Yeah, it
And Baldur's
does.
Gate 3 does have that, but there's definitely games that have done it way
And I
bigger.
play co-op with my friends on it. We do co-op campaigns. It's really
But
fun.
I'm talking more than just co-op with friends, you know?
What I'm saying about Baldur's Gate 3 is I think there's a community around it, and there's like every community has toxicity in it, but it's not as toxic as like Call of Duty. And what I really love about Baldur's Gate is the fact that the company behind it put a lot of love and effort into it. They weren't trying to rob us. What I mean by unity is they're bringing us all together by making a game that didn't. It wasn't about microtransactions, wasn't about DLC, wasn't about.
Yeah, but there's
any of
other
that
games that do
bullshit.
that too.
I know, but nothing
like
is
we
big
would have
and
said that
impactful
a few
as
years
Baldur's
ago. We would have
Gate.
said that about Witcher 3, but then CD Projekt Red did what they did with Cyberpunk. So there's nothing
Mm.
saying Larry won't do that next. We're just kind of picking back onto the next, my new beloved developer, but it's still a company at the end of the day. So
I've got faith. I've got faith.
So,
Larry won't do
you
that.
never really know.
I love you guys,
So-
Lauren.
So
You would
what I
never.
was going to say is that if you're talking about communities, video game communities, the bigger franchises like Halo, Call of Duty, etc., they're not going to have the best communities. Yeah, you might make like a load of memories on, like I made so many memories on those titles, as well as other big franchises like Saints Row, for example. The smaller communities, the smaller ones like your indie games or the other games, like I'm looking at a couple right now, like Helldivers, No Man's Sky, Deep Rock Galactic, they're gonna have the better communities because they're much more smaller. I've never played Baldur's Gate 3, never have, so my opinion is just I have no opinion all about that. So I don't really have like anything to share about Baldur's Gate 3.
I think,
But
yeah.
I think you're probably going to have to find something where the community, even through trials and tribulations with developers and publishers doing shitty things, they always still are there.
Final Fantasy 14.
You know what? You know what? You know what? Low
That's not even a
key.
joke.
Elden Ring.
Final Fantasy
Elden
14.
Ring. Elden Ring.
You know what? Low key has a good unity in the community sense.
Elden Ring.
I'm gonna go Pokemon Go.
No, I'm not
Fuck
putting
me.
Pokemon here.
Shut the
That's
fuck
not
up.
happening. That's not happening.
Oh my
Because that had
God.
like people walking about making friends with strangers in person, like
During
hanging out.
COVID.
So
Okay, not during COVID.
what I
Never
want to
endorsed
say about Baldur's Gate, because you guys kind of used it as a bad point, but I think it's a good point, is that I think so a lot of the original kind of gaming and community gaming spaces was D&D in your basement. You know, that was like the shit in the 80s. That's kind of that D&D in your basement storytelling is kind of what it helped the video game space, because people wanted to tell their own stories and play RPGs, right? So basically, whenever people make games, a lot of that is just how can we put D&D and do it in a video game? But Baldur's Gate was just them getting the rights to fully take D&D and put it in a game. They didn't always need to, you know. They had Divinity, which is the previous games that Larian worked on. And Divinity was their own thing that was kind of following in that path. But they got given the rights to Baldur's Gate, which helped amplify it. What Baldur's Gate has done is it's not only improved what showed companies and people that you won't always get screwed over, and you can make a full fucking game that deserves love and attention, that isn't going to rip you off. But it's also a game that's helped build small communities of people who want to go and play D&D. You know, there are huge convention events where you get the voice actors up there who play D&D and people watch, and they do charity events for these things. You know, like Baldur's Gate is so much more than just, oh, it's just D&D but the video game. Like that's kind of what video games have always been aiming for. So the fact that Baldur's Gate is doing it because they had the rights to do it and they've done it so bloody well, I think it shows what video games can do, and it's brought people together. You know, that's everyone agreed, basically everyone on the fucking, even me, Miss Alan Wake, was like Baldur's Gate 3 deserves the win. I love Alan Wake,
but
I
don't know. I feel like we're trying too hard to reward Larian with like this. You know, like we're trying to reward all their hard work and putting them up on a pedestal a little bit for a thematic theme that it doesn't necessarily fit. Like there's other examples of like I would rather put an MMO on here like a Final Fantasy 14 or a WoW than Baldur's Gate, because those are places where you're gonna
I want a game that persuades unity. No, it just came out of it.
Like, but when you think of Baldur's Gate 3, you don't immediately think of playing a D&D campaign with your friends. You think of just playing by yourself and playing a solo campaign with all those characters.
But then I
in
go
that
online
story
and I talk to all my
stuff
friends
like that.
about it.
Like,
yeah, but you do that with any game.
Yeah, you do that with anything.
I actually
Final
want
Fantasy
to go
14
back.
or an MMO, you have to play with people and stuff like that.
Can I say, I actually want to go back to what Sam was saying earlier about games like Helldivers 2, I think are a great pick for Unity.
Also Elden Ring.
Because those games are specifically built to unionize the players against one thing. Like you're working as a team as players. Like Helldivers 2, if you've ever seen their community, it's all like...
Well, even Sam's like, nah, mate.
But it's all like everyone's
as a
like,
team.
everyone's like very
You guys are taking the
roleplay,
Unity thing so literally, though. You're taking it so
That's the
literally.
point.
I think the game needs to persuade
I feel like you're not
Unity
taking
in a
it literally
way that
enough.
it's doing it on
I-
You're
purpose.
like, oh,
I-
the unity is that the game's good. And I'm like, no, what? No.
Okay,
I'm
well
kind
then
of
you know
agreeing
what?
that
For
MMO might
Unity,
need to go
Call
down
of
there.
Duty, let's go.
Yes.
This is why you haven't won a single game fight.
Me?
Yes, you.
Fuck.
Get
No,
good.
okay.
What am I doing
because
wrong?
Here's the like Rowan, to your
Skill
point.
issue.
Rowan, to your point. Unifying players together against a single entity. That's literally what every MMORPG does.
Yeah,
Is you go do dungeons, you go
Yes,
do
they're all the
raids and all that
same.
stuff.
Oh.
However, for you people who clearly don't play them, except for Rowan, you play it.
I played them. I
Final
don't like them,
Fantasy
they suck.
14 is
Here
one
we
of the
fucking go.
few. Is one of the few, unlike WoW, in my opinion.
Okay. Okay.
It's one of the few where the community is large, is unified against individual like enemies and bosses and raids, but is also extremely helpful and friendly. And that's the big thing for me, is that if you go on a Final Fantasy 14, they literally have a system called the newcomer system where you become a sprout and there's people in their own chat where they are veterans of the game and they help you out. They tell you things, you ask them questions, they help you find your way in the game. And then if you're in a dungeon, let's say you're playing a tank for the first time, it's a really stressful thing to do because you got to know what's going on. People are very open to helping you out because it's a very friendly community.
Yeah,
I think if we're talking about unity, like that, there's nothing more unifying than a group of strangers coming together to fight a raid boss and then helping each other out to learn more about the game.
I've got 2 follow-ups to that. One of them is Elden Ring has plenty of that. Tri-finger butthole everywhere. What do you mean? There's
but Elden
no
Ring's a
everywhere
single player
telling you to
game.
do
It
that.
just has multiplayer every once in a while.
You can get your
I don't
friends,
think that's
but
qualified.
also, Death Stranding has that to a degree.
Ooh,
I was thinking about. I was actually thinking about this a while ago, but I didn't want to say
pretty
it.
good for this. I
Might
like
as well
because
just
this.
make a journey.
It
Fucking
came out
uni.
during. It came out during COVID. It was the perfect time for people to hang out. It was all about building bridges with people. And throughout it, you can build a ladder and then someone else can build a ladder somewhere else. You can give each other likes and help each other out. And
Yeah,
the
I
stuff
love
that you
Death
have
Stranding.
appears in each other's
Sorry,
game. I love
is,
it.
Nothing
is
feels-
Death Stranding
nothing feels-
co-op?
No, so in Death Stranding,
technically,
How
kind-
how does
it
how
has a
does Unity
community,
fall
though.
into that?
so
Every
Death
game
Stra-
has a community.
There
What are
is-
you talking
there is-
No,
about?
no,
No,
Rowan,
no,
defend
no.
it. Defend it.
There is nothing better. As someone who's played Death Stranding, it's nothing better than it's still online. And how online it works is when you're playing Death Stranding, you go from A to B, but you can place down tools and things to help you go from A to B. You
Like
might
roads.
be carrying, you might be carrying something. You might look at a hill and go, "Fuck, I got nothing prepared to go up this hill," and then you'll just see a ladder, and it will say "ladder placed by blank," and you give it a little thumbs up.
Little gamer tag. Yeah, it has a gamer tag of who
so,
left it.
So someone else placed a ladder on that playthrough, and I get to use that ladder now.
How
Yeah.
does that work? How does that work?
It's-
You-
Hidden
you never-
Steam
you
is
never-
mind.
You never see them.
No, but you know who they were. And so the great thing is that I remember I was progressing through an area and I remember being like, oh fuck, I've got like no health. I really need to get through this. Like this is terrible. And then there was like a little supply thing put there by another guy. So I gave that a cheeky like. And then while you're going through, you can leave messages for people to like, you know, make them be like, you got this. Or you can leave like roads for people, or you can put resources into building like a road, and then someone else can put resources into building the road, and then boom, you now have a road that you share with other people. And
Right,
so
so-
like you now have stuff.
I'm kind of on the
So,
side of Death Stranding
I-
now.
It's not
Me
this.
too.
Come on.
No,
It's not. No,
I
can't.
agree. I agree with Ashton, right? And I'm going to use Helldivers as an example because I literally, on a whim, put in the Helldivers 2 chat. Can anyone help me with some trophies? Because I'm trying to get the platinum on Helldivers. Every single time I've done that, every single person in that entire lobby has helped me.
I'd do that in Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves!
You never, ever,
No.
ever get stuff like that in any other games, and I agree
that in
with
Sea of
what
Thieves.
Ashton. I agree with what Ashton has said about Final Fantasy 14. Like I know the history of it. I know it released in a really terrible state.
When did
Nobody-
Ashton,
nobody
Ashton, when did
enjoy-
it
no one
release?
liked
What
it.
year?
2014?
Nobody likes Final Fantasy
Isn't that a
14.
bit
The
too
developers
soon?
saw that as well, and then they decided,
2010,
you know what we're gonna
actually.
do? We're gonna rebuild everything. And from what I can tell,
Too soon. You're trying to say Elden Ring.
I'm taking the piss out of everything.
From what I can tell, Final Fantasy 14 now has a lot of community support. There's a reason why Jeff Keighley keeps giving it, you know,
And it
like
stands the
best
test of
ongoing
time.
community
It's
support.
been around forever.
Yeah,
Right.
Final
Yeah,
Fantasy 14
That's
is a lot of fun.
that's
Right.
what you
It's
need,
great.
though.
Right.
That is what you need.
Right, you fucking assholes. I hate to say
I,
it,
will-
right?
I was.
Go.
I will say when I play Final Fantasy 14, I actually have the exact Ashton. I was tank and I went to a dungeon and people kept getting stroppy with me because I forgot to turn on my lure as the tank.
Why did you do that?
So the community was mean to you.
Look,
Yeah,
that's
they
a
were
Rowan
mean to me.
problem. That's a Rowan problem. You've got to use a single brain cell.
I'm hearing.
Oh my
Meanwhile,
God,
Nicole's
that's
over there
funny.
like, well, if you do this, you feel.
So I do have one thing
Oh,
I want to
that's
say.
funny.
One last thing I want to say. Right, Claire's Good Expedition 33. But no.
doesn't even-
What I will actually say is when Ashton was fighting the good fight for Final Fantasy 14, that was sounding pretty good. I don't know if it deserves it though, because I just feel like it's just it. I feel like there are bigger, better communities that have done.
There's bigger
so much
ones,
more
but I don't
for
know about
gamers.
better. That's the
Well,
thing. Like
Elden
WoW's
Ring,
bigger,
Sea of
but it's
Thieves,
I don't know,
like Death
it's-
Stranding.
The reason I talked about Baldur's Gate 3 is because I just love the D&D community. You know, it's just such a big and beautiful community, and we're just like
I think I don't know. I also just think like the D&D is already had a big enough community. I don't think Baldur's Gate 3 really was the one that started that. Like it was
No,
there a
but I
long
think
time.
Yeah,
that
no,
what
as
Bal-
someone that's a good point. As someone who's been in the D&D community for a long time, Baldur's Gate 3
Critical
was
Role
like, it
what-
existed
didn't-
long
think-
before.
It
Baldur's
felt
Gate.
it was a
Baldur's-
cool thing, but I could have lived without Baldur's Gate
what
3
Baldur's
as
Gate
much
3
as I
did
love it.
is it brought it to new people. So many people ended up jumping on the bandwagon of D&D after Baldur's Gate 3. It expanded their idea of what gaming can be and made the community even bigger. So that's the hill I'm going to die on.
Which I think that's true, but I just don't know if that's enough for it to be out.
I just
every
don't
day
know if
ever.
Final Fantasy deserves it. I like it, but I don't know if it deserves it.
Well, you
know?
never played it, so.
No, I know, but that I think that's the point. I think that's also a point. You know, it's the same argument making
You know
about
what?
Call of Duty and stuff.
As someone who has played Final Fantasy, Death Stranding, Baldur's Gate, Helldivers 2, I'm gonna go either Final Fantasy 14 or Death Stranding because I just think Death Stranding's an interesting pick.
I think Death Stranding's a really interesting pick.
So I'm gonna go
Yeah,
Final
Jim
Fantasy
would be so
14, Death
happy.
Stranding.
Death
That's what
Stranding's
I've-
interesting, but like it's lacking that human one-on-one, like actual like interaction
I got to
there.
talk to Sam later. I
Yeah,
don't know what
you
you
which
know.
is fair enough. So I go
Because
Final
also
Fantasy
the
14.
Death Stranding thing reminds me a lot to a more degree actually that as the things that happen in Souls games, where, like,
Yeah.
people leave behind their messages and stuff. You might
Yeah.
see their character as like a phantom,
Which is
but,
why
like,
I was saying
thinking,
Elden Ring. Like
but
I may have been like saying it jokingly.
they're usually
but
not that helpful. Honestly, 90% of the time those messages say go run off that cliff. There's something there, and then you just die. So it's like, I don't know
yeah,
if that's
try finger butthole.
exactly.
Yeah,
So-
I don't know how I don't know what it says about the Unity when every single corner I take
says
it says
try finger-
Fortnite.
Yeah,
It's so
exactly.
Fort Common Night. Oh, so good.
Are you guys okay
Yeah.
with Final Fantasy 14 being in Unity or?
Yes.
I do like
Screw
Final
it.
Fantasy. It does feel a bit far fetched. I think Baldur's Gate 3 is more.
I think if
and
it's
done
a
so much
I think
more.
Baldur's Gate 3 is the
specifically about
far-fetched
Unity.
Really? I honestly, I was.
It's
I
like
can't
it's
believe
so
Baldur's
I'm
Gate 3
new.
is an
fighting so
amazing
hard.
game, but
It's
trying
a
to
great
squeeze
game,
into
but,
Unity
like, it's not
feels
Just
that-
'cause
like-
it's
you know.
I think it has a
so
better
new.
argument for perseverance.
Yeah,
Preservation.
Preservation's the next one. But
Yeah.
Let's go to
don't know
that
if
one.
it
Let's go to
does.
preservation.
okay,
'Cause
guys,
that's the
I'll give
one
it
that
to
we don't have
Final
anything.
Fantasy. I'll give it to fucking Final Fantasy. But fuck you guys. Next.
Look, I got my win. I lost Super Mario 64, so now I can just like
I thought
You
we chose
know.
Mario 64.
we did,
Did we not choose
but I
that?
didn't want to. But
Oh.
I lost that one.
So, just on the topic of preservation, what do we mean when we say preservation?
Yeah, this is the big issue.
Right.
Baldur's Gate 3.
It doesn't preserve anything.
Relax for a second.
You just
want to
play. You just want to.
Rowan
Nicole.
just said it.
Nicole is
I did
ruined
just
by
say-
recency bias.
'cause I was
It's
saying-
Rowan
recency
said it.
bias.
I said it last time.
What
Baldur's
does
Gate
No
3.
recency
what does
bias.
preservation mean? What does
I
it
did
mean?
say to also lead. I did say Baldur's Gate 3 holds up on like industry standards.
There we
and,
go.
Like how a video game just.
There we go.
It's a good example of what a video game should be,
Yeah.
and I think that holds strong.
The fact that we're
Preservation.
20 years, like, you know, we're in 2025 and gaming has gone from like, we're going to make art and we're going to give you a whole game on release to here's all our microtransactions. It's really nice to get a full game on release that keeps getting free updates and you have a good time.
So
And the
are we
community is good.
saying? Are we saying for preservation, it is the ones? It's the game that preserves what makes a game, or is it the one where it preserves
The values.
the game itself, as in
I
like
think it's
just
the
Yeah.
values.
the title? So it's
Values.
it's the values and it's the standards of what a video game should be.
I
Yeah.
think values.
that's
is,
what we're
if,
I
saying.
think
if we
values
think
is more
about
interesting.
Mount Rushmore, then if you're talking about preservation of America, then it's just the preservation of America as it was. And I don't think that's a very good
Mhm.
idea. So I think that the evolution and showing what games can accomplish is.
Well, it's
is-
just it was
I-
preservation of
I-
the nature, not the whole.
No, that's what I
being
mean. Though.
racist
It's
thing.
like no, terrible. But like the nature of video games is that it should be art. It should be fun.
Here's
you
my
should
problem with
be able to-
Baldur's Gate 3.
Fuck
A,
me.
it's so new.
Stop saying it's
and
new.
News
and
good.
B, just because it is the most recent one to do that doesn't mean it should be on this list.
Okay.
Witcher did
But
that already.
I think
Witcher
Baldur's Gate
already did this.
I don't think it did though. I don't think
It did. It already did this.
It did.
Witcher 3 and CD Projekt Red were literally what Baldur's Gate 3 and Larian are for you guys right now, but back then.
Doesn't
That's all
Witcher
it
3
was.
have DLC?
It does. And they're regarded as some of the best of all time, and they dropped multiple free updates and DLC as well throughout its lifetime.
The Witch is also
Baldur's Gate 3 only doesn't have
book,
DLC
which is interesting.
because they didn't want to upgrade the level cap.
It's because it would be ridiculous to add DLC into
crazy.
Baldur's Gate 3. It would be way too difficult of a task.
Be fun but terrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
They added new classes recently.
They did.
Okay, guys, got it. Mass Effect. I'm joking.
How?
I've never played a Mass Effect once in my life.
Wait a minute. There was the Legendary Edition.
Yeah.
This one's hard.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna go into defend the point.
Astrobot.
So I want to say something important just so that people understand this. I'm actually not like the biggest Baldur's Gate 3 fan. I love it, and the reason I like, I'm not in love with it as much. Like, Baldur's Gate 3 is not my game of the year. I was like, it deserves game of the year for what it did, but my game of the year was actually in order. Would have probably been like Alan Wake, Lies of P, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and then Baldur's Gate 3. Because I'm just not a huge Baldur's Gate person. But the way when I played that game, I was like, fuck, this is what gaming should be. This is
Baldur's
how
Gate 3
we should be getting our
all.
games. Yeah, all I like Baldur's Gate 3 as is like, it's, you know what? It's a reminder. It's like Mount Rushmore, like a big fucking face on the front of gaming, right? That just sits there and goes, look at you assholes. Behave yourselves, make art, prioritize your community and your fans first. You know, stop trying to rob us. And I think that it's so important. And I know you're saying that like The Witcher is that staple, but I just don't think, I think The Witcher 3, no, I actually do really respect that. I think that is a very good choice. I might even be, you know, you could swing me towards The Witcher 3, but I just think that, again, just that what Baldur's Gate 3, the fact that it did such a big clean sweep and has done so much, I know it's like recent memory and all that nonsense, but like, it shouldn't matter how recent things are if it's made a huge impact.
Well, I think that's what my argument is, that we're clouding our vision because it's so recent and just forgetting. We're just getting amnesia.
I'm not
about
a huge Baldur's Gate fan.
You know what I mean?
I'm acting like I am because I'm gonna die on this hill. I'm not. It's not like Halo where Halo's just my favorite. So I'm gonna argue Halo.
Like, my point is, Witcher 3 came out 10 years ago. So it's a lot easier to be like, oh, Baldur's Gate 3 was the best thing since sliced bread because it only came out a few years ago, whereas Witcher 3 was 10 years ago. So it's a lot easier to just forget that, no, actually, Witcher 3 was everything that everyone is saying about Larian and Baldur's Gate 3. They said about Witcher 3. That is the exact same.
I'm gonna be for real, guys. 10 years ago, I was 11. I got nothing
Yeah,
you weren't
even disgusting. What I will say as well.
Yeah.
I was 17. That's disgusting. What I will say again is the whole preservation thing. So what this has done is it's not only preserving video games and the idea of what video games should be, but it's also bringing in D&D and, you know, sitting around at a table with your community, with people, and creating a story together. I think that it's not just preserving video games as an idea, but preserving gaming in every facet as a whole. And I think that's like a huge, I think all Baldur's Gate 3 did is it brought like board game and tabletop gamers and video game people together. You know, I think that Baldur's Gate had way more of an impact than The Witcher. I think The Witcher is huge. I think what The Witcher did was amazing, and it was hugely impactful to the gaming community, and it showed what games can be, right? But I just don't. Also, what I'm going to talk about. 3? I've played like, I think maybe 20 hours.
I've completed it.
It's okay.
I played it years ago, but I honestly, I didn't know about the impact of it. I know it's a big game.
I've got an important thing that I've just remembered as well.
Fucking hell, go on.
Crunch. As far as we know, so Larian announced that they didn't crunch the same way other companies crunch. Crunch culture is fucking horrendous. Now, it is 100% true that CD Projekt Red has repeatedly utilized crunch in order to get their games out there. So not only is it the community of fans, but it's also the people working on the game, which is another reason why people love Larian and Baldur's Gate so much, because they didn't have to crunch and treat their employees terribly in order to put a good game out. That's another reason why I think Baldur's Gate 3
you know
should
what?
be here.
As much I keep hearing about Baldur's Gate 3, I've not played it. What makes it so good? Don't talk.
It's
Don't talk about the community. Don't talk about what the developers did.
I'll
The
tell
game
you.
itself. What is good about the
I'll tell
game?
you right
D&D.
now, someone who's gone back to play
Yeah.
Divinity 2, which is also a Valorant.
Yes.
First of all, I will say up front, the gameplay of Baldur's Gate 3, it's probably fresh to people who've never played D&D. I think there's a lot of issues as an RPG, but because I'm not a fan of the D&D combat system as much as I
Yeah.
am other systems. But it is a system that has been worked on for countless years. So it does have a lot of intricacies that are very nice. But the big thing is that the role playing and just the amount of shit you can do in Baldur's Gate is ridiculous.
There's 2 million
Little
lines of dialogue in
little
Baldur's Gate.
things you can do, which actually I don't know if you knew this, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 has like a fucking insane amount too. But
Yeah.
anyway, I the Baldur's Gate 3, like you could do something at the start of the game that will massively influence you in little ways that you don't know throughout it. There's just so many interesting routes. The replayability of that game is
Yeah.
phenomenal.
I still
It
haven't
is
become a wheel of
insane.
cheese. I need to go back and become a wheel of cheese.
It is
Yeah.
it is so much shit in that game.
Right, but
that
what
is
It's like
about the
imagine a
actual-
web, a big web,
And-
right? Like the
and it-
Baldur's Gate 3 is just like you're starting on one end of the web, and then you could end up on a billion other points of the web because every single little interaction with an NPC can go, it feels like 10 different ways depending on what options you're choosing.
And-
And
your
it's
dice
like that
rolls.
for like every single thing that you do. And so it's
And,
like
like,
incredible.
As well, every little step is insanely engaging. It's not just bloated. It is genuinely everything
Yeah, it's a
is
very
meaningful
like
and really nice.
constructed
Right, but
experience.
what about the moment-to-moment gameplay?
That is the
Would you-
moment to
would you-
moment.
Yeah.
You're walking up
That
to
is it.
somebody,
Moment.
you're talking to somebody, you're learning about them, you're
2
learning about
million
what's
lines
going
of
on
dialogue.
around them.
Yeah,
You're either
there's a lot
you're
of
using whatever
listening and
skills
talking.
your character has to either figure out something about that person or resolve their issue, or there's like a cow over here that looks a little off, and so you do
No,
a roll
the
to see if you can
fucking cow!
figure out why that one seems off. Or there's like a child over there who like is trying to do a magic trick while their friend sneaks behind you and steals your money, and you have to see if you can figure out if that's happening.
All of this in
And
that one camp.
Those are all,
giving
and
me
that, those are
PTSD.
two just like tiny
And like
little
in this
moments.
one area.
And if
Maybe-
if you're
maybe-
talking more about the gameplay is very serviceable because it is just D&D. But I think the big thing that makes, and also character identity, your character can be someone so specific.
Like
Yeah.
Because once
imagine
again,
you're
there's 12 different classes to
Yeah,
choose
it's very
from with
free.
like
It's very free.
all with different subclasses and choices within them.
so imagine
I-
you were playing. Here's an I think this would be easy for people to understand.
Yeah.
Imagine you were playing your favorite action adventure game, right? An Uncharted, a Spider-Man, Last of Us, whatever, and something happened. Right, a character set was walking up to another character they needed to say something to, or they were walking into a building that they need to go get something to. And in those games, your character is your character, like they are their own person and they do the thing and you watch the story happen. Imagine instead of that, there are a dozen different ways that outcome, that scenario could happen, and you are choosing what's going on. Right? You are choosing, okay, I'm walking up to this person. I have maybe, like I don't know, I'm thinking of Last of Us 2, for example. Like Dina's pregnant, right? Imagine you can either choose for her to tell Ellie right at the start, or you wait until like near the end of the game to tell her, or maybe you tell her at this midway point, or maybe you tell her over here. Like it's that kind of thing of like, imagine any moment where you're watching a show or playing a game and going through a story, and you are thinking, oh, I wonder what would happen if they did this. I wonder what would happen if this happened instead, and you can just do that. And
I would say
it works.
the best way I can explain the player identity in Baldur's Gate is, let's say you're playing Skyrim. I would use Oblivion as an example. I don't really know enough about it. When you play Skyrim, you can make choices on quests. You can role play, in essence, who your character is and what they do in your head. But at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure in Skyrim you are the Dragonborn.
Yeah, that's it.
Like,
You're
no
kind
matter
of the
what you
savior of
do,
everyone.
Yeah.
No matter what you do, you are the dragon. But in Baldur's Gate 3, you can literally just take your character
You can
in
play the
any
whole game
direction.
as a murderer.
Yeah,
You
there's
can
there's
go-
so much to do. You can go, like, it's so freeing, and that's what makes it so
I will say
special.
that is as a person who plays lots of games, I didn't try Baldur's Gate because I don't like that kind of play style. I don't like turn-based combat. I just wasn't a fan. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. And then after a few months, I went, fuck it, I'm doing it. And then I did it, and I went, oh, I've been so wrong. And that's why I'm now playing games like Clair Obscur, and why I'm going to go play Final Fantasy and Metaphor, because I have finally realized that I was wrong and misunderstood these genres. And I finally dove. That's what I'm saying about Baldur's Gate 3 as well, is that it's done so much for teaching me how these games games could be. Older games that were trying to do the whole RPG thing just weren't capturing the same magic and weren't able to really commit. And the fact that it has 2 million lines of dialogue is insane. You know, like I think it's the most dialogue in a video game ever. Like recorded dialogue ever.
I think I'm starting to get convinced.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think we should stop jerking
glazing.
it off and actually glazing it and actually explain why we think it's good for the
I think
I don't know if Sam really understood what you were saying, but like it's kind of hard to describe without like getting in there.
It's special. You should play it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it upholds just what it upholds video game values very well.
Yeah, I think that the video game community is kind of losing its way, and Baldur's Gate 3 will always go down in history as the video game that proved what games can do. And brought tabletop people and video game people together. My uncle doesn't really like he plays D&D and he plays a lot of video games, but he was never going to play Baldur's Gate because he found it quite hard to mar the two together. And then the other day he texted me being like, "Hey, I started. I'm playing as a Githyanki," and I went, "Disgusting. I hate the Githyanki." So he's doing that, and he's finally making the jump. Baldur's Gate 3 is what's made him make the jump, and I think that's super important. So I know so many people who aren't gamers who started playing games because of Baldur's Gate 3. You know, I didn't see, I don't want to shit on it, but The Witcher 3 doing that to the same degree. And I know you're saying Baldur's Gate is so new, but I don't think newness has got anything to do with it. I think that 10 years
I think you just weren't paying attention to it at the time.
I think
that's definitely a thing.
I think Baldur's Gate 3 is still going to be
like Cyberpunk was going to be the biggest thing ever. It was going to challenge GTA until it came out and was what it was. But like
I think
the hype that it had was going to be a level because
preservation's good if it's modern because it's shown it's being preserved.
Yeah. The ideas and all the games.
I will say Theodore Roosevelt, who represents this one on the Mt Rushmore, is the most recent of the 4.
There we go. I think argument's done.
Baldur's Gate 3 wrapped up.
He's not that recent. He's still 1900s. But
hey, in 100 years, on Baldur's Gate 3 is still relevant. You'll be wrong. I don't know how we're going to figure that out, but 100 years from now, we're going to find a way to be alive and be like.
Be there in 20 years when they remake the game.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so we finally settling on Baldur's Gate 3 for number 4. For the 4th president.
I suppose. I don't think Sam cares.
Yeah, Sam's been awfully quiet.
Okay, so we're giving 3 to Final Fantasy 14, are we? I'm not entirely convinced, but I gave Baldur's Gate 3 that one. So
Unity, I'm fine with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so now we see Halo versus.
We just have to finish the expansion one, and then we'll be done.
So we're back to Halo versus
Call of Duty, probably. Yeah.
I'm actually.
All right, Sam, jump in.
I'm gonna say Call of Duty.
Yeah, but which one? Which one? That's the other problem. Is you're generalizing about Call of Duty.
All right, fine. Let's figure out which one. 4 Black Ops or
generalizing the whole time.
Modern Warfare 2.
We're generalizing because they will serve the same sort of purpose.
We weren't generalizing about Halo and we were arguing it.
We were actually. We literally were. Like, oh, everybody. Like,
I was arguing Halo 2, guys. You were all arguing Call of Duty, all right? So
yeah. Sure.
I actually have a different one, which is World at War.
Nah.
You're only saying World of Warcraft because the rest of us are saying Halo.
I said World at War. I didn't say World of Warcraft. I said World
Call
of War.
Call of Duty. World at War.
Call of Duty.
I think you cut out.
Am I crazy?
I'm gonna say World of War. No,
sorry, you weren't. You were like not born yet.
Yeah.
I'm not even. I actually am worried. I think you were like a toddler.
I think it's Modern Warfare 1 or Black Ops. That's my opinion.
No. Modern Warfare 2.
Sorry, but with Shepard in Modern Warfare 2, if World at War, which had the first zombies, by the way, so I think that was awesome, and the story.
Yeah, I think zombies is a big deal. Honestly.
But Black Ops had the one that everybody remembers the most.
I know, but so wait, what's the argument we're fighting here? What are we? Unity? No, we're done. No. Expansion.
Yeah.
Fuck. I would say.
I think Black Ops, actually, if I'm going to say that. I'm going to say Black Ops.
Black Ops 2 would be my vote.
I'm going to say 1.
Yeah, but you're a new baby, okay?
Yeah.
I say Black Ops 1.
We were in the trenches.
Because Black Ops 1 has the like crazy Treyarch campaign that people get hyped for. It has the zombies that is like the critical zombies. Like World at War had zombies first, but Black Ops like made zombies what it is now. And then it has also still the multiplayer.
Oh, so it has the story was so good as well.
Exactly. It has everything. Modern Warfare's biggest downfall side is it doesn't have zombies.
Okay, so we're still on expansion, right? And you're saying Call of Duty is I just don't think it deserves it. I just don't think Call of Duty deserves it. It's not an art. It's just
It is art. Every game is art, whether you
Every
like it or
game.
not.
I know, but it's not to the same degree.
Just because you don't like it doesn't mean.
Yeah,
I
you're
used to
being
love
biased.
it. I used to love it. I would
Exactly.
say that the World at War was one of my favorite games growing
Again,
up.
I think for both Halo and Call of Duty, if the issue is the modern ones are a problem, that they both have that problem. So we can just like throw
Yeah.
that part out.
I
They
think the
both have
reality is no
problem.
matter what we pick here, we're not gonna be happy with it because we're picking 4 games, so we just gotta go with
All
it,
right,
what we think.
all right. I'm between Modern Warfare 2 and Black Ops. So someone call it.
I'm at Black Ops.
Black
I'm at
Ops
Black
does add
Ops.
zombies as well, so I will say that it has that bit that's missing. Modern Warfare 2 doesn't, but the
Go on,
Shepherd
Sam.
Ghost. Oh, so
I don't give a
good.
fuck about those people.
Sam looks
Make the
grumpy.
call, Sam. Make the call.
I'm still saying Modern Warfare 2.
Shit,
I
so
say
we split.
both. So if you two are saying, oh shit,
Why
I'm
Modern
running out of
Warfare
battery.
2 and not
Oh,
Black
fuck.
Ops?
About to run out of battery, guys. There we go. And I'm gone.
I need a reason. I need a reason.
I'm gone.
I'm just going by my own like personal experience with it, but Modern Warfare 2 used to be like incredibly like popular back in the day. A lot of people started with Modern Warfare 2. A lot of people, like I first started with Modern Warfare 2. A lot of my friends during the time started with where's she gone? She's
Just temporary. She'll be back. She'll be back.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of my friends also started with Modern Warfare 2 as well. I don't know what it was. There was just something about Modern Warfare 2 that just got a lot of people interested in it. Maybe it was the controversy surrounding No Russian, or maybe it was something else. I don't know. But there was just something about Modern Warfare 2 that brought a lot of people into the Call of Duty, I don't know, sphere. You know
Because
what I mean?
I would say that was 4. 4 did that first.
4 did. 4
Like
did
4
do
was
that
the
first,
thing
yeah.
that Warfare 2 kind of bounced off of. But I don't
That's-
think 4
that's
was
the thing.
probably the bigger one.
That's the thing that, well, four kind of like broke new ground a little bit, because
Yeah.
before that, COD was mostly seen as a World War II simulator. That's what it was. But then Modern Warfare came out, and a lot of people were skeptical about it, being like, oh, well, you can't really like, how's, you know, a modern setting gonna, you know, there's a little controversies and everything surrounding it. But Modern Warfare 1, now I would probably say it did do a lot for the actual franchise itself, but Modern Warfare 2 popularized it even more than that. And then Black Ops followed it in its wake, and then Black Ops 2, Modern Warfare
I'm back.
3, and so on and so forth. But I think if you want to point to something specific, I think that Modern Warfare 2 would be the best one to say. Yeah, you can argue, oh, zombies, cool, you know, pew pew
Zombies is
pew,
a big part
punch,
of it.
whatever.
That's
It
the
is.
It's
thing.
such a
massive.
big part of it. It's so
massive.
huge.
I don't want Call of Duty anyways, but I'm just picking Black Ops because it is just the package that had kind of everything. But I don't think Call of Duty should be winning it for expansion. I said Halo. I don't think Call of Duty should have it. But if we're picking Call of Duty, I'm going Black Ops. So
I think much like with what Rowan said, I think that it doesn't matter which one we pick altogether. None of us are really going to be satisfied about it, and I think the exact same could be said for our viewers as well. No one's really going to be satisfied with it. Everyone's going to have their own different ones, which is why, again, I asked at the beginning, is it going to be our own personal ones, or is it going to be one that we're all going to accumulate together? Because I have my own different one. Nicole would have hers, Rowan would have his, and Ashton, obviously, you would have yours. Everyone would have their
But we
own
didn't
one.
pick that. So
Exactly.
yeah.
So
Black Ops.
we're like relitigating the beginning of the episode. So
I mean, I guess majority rules really with it by Nicole.
Yeah.
So
I'm here,
Black Ops would be
it's
the
not
winner then.
majority. Is it Rowan? Which one do you have one of these two yet?
Bless you.
That's what I think about
I
it.
was saying Black Ops.
Oh, okay. So I think it'd have to be Black Ops then.
What? Yeah. It's just the expansion thing. It's like I think that again, it's the whole thing of what popularized stuff, and I think that Black Ops was more of one of a newer one, and I think Call of Duty was already.
I mean, it was like right
popularized and
after
already
4,
expanding.
right? Was it right after 4?
Oh my god, it was
What, Black
4.
Ops? Or World at
It's
War?
4 Modern Warfare, 5
Right.
World at War, 6 Modern Warfare 2, 7 Black Ops.
Oh, is it really?
That's all of you. It was the 7th game.
Oh, my bad. I thought it was right after 4 because that's how
No,
I
it
played it when I
wasn't.
was younger.
That's how
It wasn't
late-
right after 4.
That's
World
how
at
late that
War.
came.
World at War was right after 4, which is why I said it. 'cause
World at War was the one that I
four-
didn't get to because like I jumped in at 4. And
This is why I'm
then
able to say
But it was
much,
right after. How
'cause
did you miss it?
I know, but I jumped in at 4 like
a lot
years
of this is
after.
behind. A lot of this is before my time. So
He's a
Aw.
baby
The
face
baby.
over there.
The baby.
Yeah.
Stupid laptop. I'm gonna so done with it.
All right.
So, what do we have on the Mount Rushmore then?
All right, Mount Rushmore for the Foundation. we've got Super Mario 64. We all kind of were okay with that one. That one
Yeah.
felt pretty good.
Agreed.
For the expansion, we currently have Call of Duty Black Ops. For the preservation, we put Baldur's Gate 3, and for the unification, we have Final Fantasy 14. Now, that's going to be our collective, definitive Mount Rushmore. Let us know in the comment section below what your Mount Rushmore would be, because I'm certain you will have your own thoughts and opinions, as just we all do here anyway. So I'm sure that will be
the fact that we
something
even
we need to
managed
know what you
do
guys
this,
think.
I almost wish we were like each person gets one choice, but you know.
Oh,
that'd
be crazy.
This was
Yeah,
messy.
that'd be-
Yeah, but then you would
podcast.
have put Elden Ring on like multiplayer. It would have been like a problem. Maybe we should do that next time. But that's
cool.
what we've got. It's I think it's the perfect Mount Rushmore. Personally, I think it's the best one.
I think it's pretty
There's
good.
no
I
problem.
think there are problems.
But you guys got to let us know what your Mount Rushmores would be in the comment section below. Y'all probably will say a lot of games that we didn't even think of because we're kind of just, on the spot and stuff like that. So what other games would fit into these criteria there? And what is your criteria in the comment section below? Because maybe you're operating under a different sort of set of standards than we are. You have to comment down below and let us know. Now, after the podcast, we obviously do a 30-minute, roughly, sometimes a little longer, post show. Right? Yep. Where we kind of just talk about all sorts of different things. So maybe in that post show, we'll go ahead and talk about what our personal Mount Rushmores might be. I think that'd be a lot of fun. So if you want to see that, make sure to go and subscribe to the Patreon for Smash Jump so that you can support independent media and get that post show. Make sure you like the video and make sure you subscribe to Smash Jump and visit smashjump.com for all your biggest movie, TV, and video game news and reviews. Before we go ahead and head out on this episode, does anybody have anything they want to plug to the people from their own personal stuff?
I think Nicole's going to be glitching out.
I'm mad at my camera. This is why I have to unplug it, because it's an American camera and I keep meaning to replace it and I don't.
Damn Americans.
Yeah, and my laptop just dies constantly, so.
No plugs?
I'll plug my YouTube, Game Opinion. I'm doing more videos on there, so come and check it out if you want to.
He's got great stuff, y'all. Definitely check it out.
Yeah,
Game Opinion, check it out. It's great stuff on there.
And
maybe Sam, if you want, go ahead and put like the links to our stuff whenever we plug it in the description down below, so that we can go ahead and get that easy checked out. Especially because it's hard to spell your YouTube name.
It is.
Yeah, when you said yours, I was like, I tried to find it for ages, and I was like, it's not Gamer Opinion, it's Game Opinion.
Yeah. There's a story behind that.
Okay.
We'll get that in the post show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Rowan, Nicole, anything?
No, I got nothing to plug.
All right, perfect. That'll do it for this episode of Smash Jump Podcast, and we will see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Bye.